choose. Choose the best response.
Did you manage to track down the missing shipment?
Would you be willing to present the findings instead of me?
I think I left the space heater running in my office all weekend.
Did the replacement lens for the projector come in yet?
I won't be able to judge the science fair after all.
Could you double-check the seating capacity for the auditorium?
I've got some concerns about the new grading rubric.
Didn't the choir rehearsal move to the chapel this week?
Are you entering the department's poster competition?
We're almost out of name tags for tomorrow's orientation.
Did the caterer confirm the head count for Saturday?
Listen to your conversation.
I got matched with a research lab for my summer fellowship, but it's not really my first choice.
Did you rank it low on your list? I ranked it third, actually. My top 2 must have been oversubscribed.
That's rough, but third choice isn't bad. Are you going to accept it or try to appeal?
I'll probably accept it. Appealing this late usually doesn't change anything anyway.
Two.
My car insurance renewal came in way higher than last year.
Did something change on your end, like a ticket or an accident?
Not that I know of. I called and they said it's a regional rate adjustment.
That's worth shopping around for, then. Rates vary a lot between companies for the same coverage.
Good point. I'll get a few quotes before I just renew automatically.
Three.
The community orchestra needs a new rehearsal space. We got locked out of the school gym.
What happened?
The district changed its after-hours policy, and now outside groups need special approval.
Have you looked into the rec center? I know a few other groups rehearse there.
Not yet, but that's probably our best option at this point.
Listen to an announcement at a university event.
The campus planetarium is adding a new weekly show exploring recent discoveries in astronomy, starting this Thursday at 7. Tickets are free for students, but must be reserved online since seating is limited to 60 people per show. Doors open 15 minutes before showtime, and latecomers may not be admitted once the show begins.
Listen to an announcement at a university club meeting.
Hey everyone, before we start tonight's rehearsal, I wanted to mention that we've been asked to perform at the alumni reunion next month. It's a great opportunity, but it means moving up our concert timeline by about 3 weeks, so we'll need to add an extra rehearsal each week until then.
Listen to an announcement at a university event.
This is a reminder that applications for next year's resident advisor positions open this Friday and close in 3 weeks. Current resident advisors are automatically eligible to reapply, but all applicants, new or returning, must attend one of the information sessions being held next week.
Listen to an announcement on the university radio station.
This is a reminder that the campus shuttle will run on a modified holiday schedule starting this weekend through the end of the month, with buses arriving every 45 minutes instead of every 15. Students are encouraged to check the updated schedule online before planning any time-sensitive trips.
Listen to a talk on a podcast about visual perception.
Look at two identically colored gray squares on a checkerboard, one sitting in a shadow and one sitting in bright light. And they'll often look like completely different shades, even though a color picker would confirm they're exactly the same gray. This famous illusion reveals something important. Your brain doesn't actually show you raw light data. It shows you its best guess about the world. The reason involves a concept called brightness constancy. Your visual system knows, from a lifetime of experience, that shadows make surfaces look darker without actually changing the surface's true color. So when your brain detects a square sitting in what it identifies as a shadow, it automatically compensates, mentally brightening its estimate of that square's true color to cancel out the shadow's darkening effect. This compensation happens instantly and unconsciously, which is exactly why the illusion is so convincing, even when you know intellectually that the squares are identical. Your brain isn't being fooled by accident. It's applying a genuinely useful shortcut that works correctly almost all the time in the real world, where surfaces really do sit in varying light conditions, and identifying their true color matters more than accurately reporting raw brightness. Researchers have found that this same shadow compensation mechanism can be disrupted or fooled under specific artificial conditions, which is exactly what illusions like this one exploit deliberately. Next, we'll look at a related class of illusions that trick a completely different assumption your brain makes, this time about the direction light is coming from.
Listen and choose. Choose the best response.
I might need someone to cover my shift at the front desk Thursday.
Where did you store the extra folding chairs?
What time does the loading dock open on weekends?
Listen to a conversation.
Did you end up finishing your certification exam prep?
Mostly, though I bombed the last practice test.
How much did you miss it by?
About 10 points below passing, which is more than I expected this close to the real exam.
Have you thought about pushing your test date back a couple weeks?
Listen to a conversation.
The Community Garden Committee wants to add a rainwater collection system.
That sounds useful. What's holding it up?
Mainly cost. The quotes we got are higher than what we budgeted for this year.
Could you phase it in? Maybe start with one collection barrel instead of the full system?
That could work. I'll bring it up at the next meeting.
Listen to a talk on a podcast about the history of technology.
In 1901, sponge divers off a small Greek island discovered a shipwreck containing a corroded lump of bronze that, for decades, nobody could explain. It would take over a century of research to reveal that this unassuming object was one of the most sophisticated pieces of engineering to survive from the ancient world. The object, now called the Antikythera mechanism, turned out to be an intricate mechanical device containing dozens of precisely cut bronze gears, some with teeth just over a millimeter apart. Using modern X-ray imaging to see through centuries of corrosion, researchers eventually determined that turning a hand crank on the device would move a system of dials showing the positions of the sun, moon, and possibly several visible planets, along with predicting eclipses years in advance. What makes this discovery so puzzling is the enormous technological gap it represents. Nothing else with anywhere near this level of mechanical complexity appears in the historical record for well over 1,000 years afterward, until mechanical astronomical clocks began appearing in medieval Europe. This has led some researchers to wonder whether the Antikythera mechanism was an isolated masterpiece or evidence of a broader tradition of Greek precision engineering that simply didn't survive in the historical record. Inscriptions on the device itself, along with references in ancient texts describing similar devices attributed to the mathematician Archimedes, suggest the mechanism likely wasn't a completely unique invention, even if it's the only physical example that has survived. Next, we'll look at how researchers used modern 3D printing to build working replicas of the mechanism, testing whether its predictions actually hold up astronomically.
Listen to a talk on a podcast about animal behavior.
How does a bat navigate a pitch-black cave at high speed, weaving around obstacles and catching insects in mid-air, all without being able to see? The answer is echolocation, a biological sonar system that lets bats build a detailed mental picture of their surroundings using sound alone. Bats emit rapid, high-frequency calls, often well above the range of human hearing, and then listen for the echoes that bounce back off nearby objects. By analyzing tiny differences in timing, volume, and pitch between the outgoing call and the returning echo, a bat's brain can calculate an object's distance, size, texture, and even its direction of movement, all updated many times per second. As a bat closes in on a moving target, like an insect, it dramatically increases its call rate, sometimes producing over 100 calls per second in the final moments of a chase. A burst researchers call a terminal buzz. This rapid-fire echo stream gives the bat much more frequent updates on the insect's exact position, which is essential for making the split-second course corrections needed to catch fast, erratic prey. Interestingly, some moth species have evolved the ability to detect a bat's echolocation calls and respond with evasive flight maneuvers, while a few other moth species have gone even further, evolving the ability to produce their own clicking sounds that can jam or confuse a bat's echolocation system. Next, we'll look at how this evolutionary arms race between bats and moths has continued to escalate on both sides over millions of years.